Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we're just doing a quick little video. Today we're talking about um, my Duel Links Sylvan deck profile. This is the deck that I've been grinding a lot with ranked. This is the Magical Merchant version, um, simply because this version I think is the most consistent. The only problem with this version, since I'm not running Flower Knight or Blade Fetter, my going second turn is really not that great. I'm not running an extra deck. I remember seeing Billy Break, he was running an extra deck. I just really don't understand that. Like, I get the idea of running an extra deck in a deck that doesn't need one because it doesn't give away your opponent what it doesn't give away to your opponent what you're running. But if you're running the skill restart, then I don't really see the need for that kind of deception. For the starters, two copies of Sylvan, Ku Mushroommo. I always have trouble saying his name. This is easily the best Sylvan to open with. Opening him in Magical Merchant isn't ideal because you really want to open one or the other and then just a bunch of big Sylvans. Um, and ideally, you'd open this one if you didn't open like any spells or any magical merchants. Excavating him is also really strong because he does get rid of a spell and trap. Just obviously the best one. This is, like I said, if I don't have three, I'll explain why I don't have three. I only have two, if you can't, in case you couldn't tell right here. I'm not sure if I'd run any more because I also have like, I have like seven magical merchants. But I'm only running two of those as well because you don't really want to open. I didn't want to open a hand of Coon Mushroom, Rose Lover, Magical Merchant, because I do think Duel Links do need to do something about this deck. And this card, not only does it give you a free Hermitry, Guardiok, or Lotus Sway, but it also makes them unaffected by traps, which is just so powerful. So even if you don't get to your Turnidates, you don't get to your Crew Mushrooms, it doesn't matter because they're unaffected by traps. Now it is only to the end of the turn, but the fact that you can special summon a free plant monster, not only that, but she also triggers Hermitry's effect to draw. Like, she's the best card to execute in the deck. Speaking of Hermitry, three copies of Hermitry. I see a lot of people. I've seen lists with like one or two. I just think that's incorrect because his effect when he excavates is super strong because it stacks your deck. It's essentially the Sylvan Charity effect, and his effects on the field to draw a card gains you advantage, and also he's got 2,700 attack. So I just don't understand why people would not run it. Like, yes, I get it. You'd accidentally bump into opening all three, but the chances of you opening all three in a 20 card deck is just so low. Martial Leaf. Spot removal for spells and traps isn't as needed in my opinion as spot removal for monsters because there's a lot of problematic monsters in the game. There's a lot of problematic traps, but the thing is, a lot of the best traps, Mirror Wall, Wall of Disruption, those are cards that are only good during the battle phase. And yeah, Enemy Controller, Forbidden Chalice, we're seeing a lot of those being ran as well. And those cards aren't just good in the battle phase; they're good in the main phase as well. Um, but those are also just very circumstantial as well. He's your best play going second. If you're trying to be on the aggressive side, two copies of Guardioch. The only reason he's not at three is the same reason Lotus Wayne's not at three, and the same reason why I think Hermitry is sometimes not ran at three is because I just don't want to open Hermitry, Guardioch, Lotus Swain. I don't. That's just such a terrible opening. The reason I'm running Lotus Swain though is because of the fact that it's a Magical Merchant version. I don't think you can get away with not running Lotus Swain in a non-Magical Merchant version. I didn't believe in this card. I really didn't when I first started playing around with Sylvans, but um, I just started playtesting it because I got bored with the deck that I had, the version of the deck I had, and is actually really strong. You just throw in three spells in here, and then you just play Magical Merchant. The ideal opening hand for me is like Big Sylvan, Magical Merchant spell. Because if you open Magical Merchant with no spells, that's a restartable hand because you really want a spell in your hand for Magical Merchant because if you don't open a spell, the chances of you executing a spell are just that much higher and not gaining enough advantage out of the Magical Merchant. And if you open two spells, that's almost ideal if you didn't also open your Lotus Swains. If you opened two spells, Magical Merchant and a Hermitry, that's almost the ideal opening hand because then you're going to get that last spell out of your deck. You're going to get that Hermitry. He's definitely going to get value, but then you're also going to get your Lotus Swains, and they're going to make sure you don't deck out as well. For the spells, one, Hatronade, and two, anti-magic arrows. If I had three, I'd run three Hatronade. If I had two, I'd run two Hatronade. If I had zero, I'd try to get a hold of a third anti-magic arrows. That's just kind of how it is. I just view anti-magic arrows as a worse version of Hatronade because what Hatronade does, it just makes sure it dodges, the Forbidden Chalices, it dodges the enemy controllers, the Floodgate Trap pulls potentially if you tribute summon a monster. It does dodges all of the big main phase effects, Ultimate Providence, Memory Loss, Divine Wrath. There's so many really good things that can happen into you in the main phase. But like I said, a lot of the best spell and traps are battle phase ones, so you can usually get away with running anti-magic arrows instead. But if I were to take this deck even more seriously and I would just go crazy, I would try to get three copies of Hatronade. I was testing Aroma Strategy for a while. I like Aroma Strategy because it makes sure that you're going to get the value off Hermitry, because if you're about to use Hermitry's effect, you see the spells on the top of your deck, you just don't do it. And I think that's really strong. I also think that Beatdown could be very strong. I mean, I could get a Lotus Swain, Guardian Oak, Hermitry all on the field at once. That could be very powerful. But I just think Restart's the best because depending on which turn you're going, you want to make sure you have the optimal hand. But let me know what you guys think. Like I said, there's cards that I left out that I didn't talk about why they weren't in here. So feel free to ask any questions as to why cards aren't in certain spots. Leave a comment down below what changes to the deck you would make. Make sure you hit that like button, show your support for the channel. Make sure you subscribe for more Duel Links and regular Yu-Gi-Oh content. But most importantly,